How's it going, everyone? I'm Josh again and welcome back to Wannabe Garage. Now in this video it's going to be my first story from when I used to race Speedway. When I say used to, literally I mean a couple months ago. But anyway, this story comes from when I used to race New Stars, and what I mean by New Stars is in juniors we have two divisions. We have the New Star division, which is for the new guys coming into Speedway, and the Top Star division, which is the guys that have been racing for a few years and they know what they're doing. But this story is from when I was in New Stars. This story comes from a track called Moora, which is about 2 hours away from where I live, and it was round of what we call the JSRA, which stands for Junior Stand Racing Association, and trust me, it's pretty interesting. So basically what happens, we get there at around 3:30ish to get ready for racing at 6 o'clock. And the weather was absolutely atrocious. When I say atrocious, I don't mean bucking down with rain, I mean scorching hot. It was literally around 40 degrees in the middle of the country in Australia with no wind coming from absolutely nowhere, and if there was wind it was blowing straight from the deserts in Australia, so it was red hot. So to start off the day, we obviously unload the car and take the bonnet off and take it over to scrutineering, which we actually have to drive to a special tent that Moora's got there. And there was around a line of about 15 cars, and I was sitting in line and just watching the temperature gauge just climb and climb and climb and climb. And of course I didn't put the fan on because I didn't think I'd need to, because I'm only going to scrutineering. But when the car got up to around 100 degrees, which it doesn't even get up to when it's racing, I thought it might be a smart idea to flick the fan. And thank God it did, because the car, a couple cars in front of me, actually had its radiator cap just blow off and have scorching hot water go absolutely everywhere. So eventually we got through scrutineering and the car passed, which is all good. And then we got back to the trailer and I actually left the fan on for a while, just so I can drop back down to where it's neutrally meant to be running, and then just got myself ready for the first race, which is right now only about 15 minutes away. So eventually the drivers' meeting did finish and I had to run straight back in, get into the car, because we were out first, as usually what tracks do is they put the juniors out first. And pretty much how we determine where we start is you get a little ball and it has a number from 1 to how many cars there are entered in your class, and they dump that into a hat, and then you just pull one out, and whatever number you get for your first heat, and then they usually reverse it for the second heat. So if you're on pole for the first one, you'll be from the back from the last one, for the second one, and then for the final heat you just draw it again. And then features are for points for the night, so where you finish in your heats obviously earn you points, and then that's where you start for the A feature, so to call it. So yeah, that's how we determine our grid. But anyway, we were out there in the chute, which is our dummy grid, so we all line up and just make sure everything's there and all good. And we roll out onto the track, and then this is where things start to get a bit interesting. So what happened was, because it was our big meeting for the season at Moora, they decided to give us hot laps. So we roll out, and instead of lining 2 by 2 for a rolling start, we spread out, and they give us, I think it was about 3 laps for hot laps, just so we can get a feel for the track. But half the field listened, half the field didn't. The front half thought they were going racing, so they were all 2 by 2, and then the back half of the field, because I got a pretty bad grid draw, we all spread out and we were circulating around for about 5 or 6 laps before we even got to do our 3 hot laps. And this is before the race even starts, and remember, it is still 40 degrees. So pretty much everyone's fan is running overtime just to keep the cars cool and we can actually, go racing. And by the time I finished my 3 hot laps, the car was already creeping up towards 100, which is not very good considering we still had another 10 to go for the actual proper race. So anyway, I crawled my way back from, I think I started out of 8th. I ended up finishing 2nd, which I was pretty happy about, but the car was pretty much cooking. I think it was up to about 120 or something, but it got up to that with about 2 laps to go, so I just decided to finish it anyway. But no, I didn't do it very much good, and we've ended up just melting a head gasket. And for those of you who don't know, melting a head gasket is A, pretty hard to do, and B, not very good. So instead of pulling it apart and making our car spread out like a giant yard sale in front of everyone in the pits, we just decided just to put it on the trailer and head home. So anyway, we just went home, and the next weekend we took it to a mate's place who owns a mechanic business, and he pretty much pulled it all apart and just saw that literally it was just melted all into one big blob. So we pretty much had to bin that motor and put a new motor in for the next race, which was in Ellenbrook a couple of weeks' time, but that's a different story for a different video. Anyway guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video and this first story that I have to tell you. Trust me, I've got plenty more. But if you do like this video, please make sure you let me know, as these videos do take quite a lot of time. I've had to redo a lot of these takes, and editing them is quite hard as well. No, it might not seem like it. But if you do like these story videos, please do let me know so I can keep making them, as I've got a lot to tell you. And yeah, stay tuned around this wannabe garage for some more stories and whatever Adrian wants to upload, like I said in the last video. Cheers. And also, please excuse all my hand movement signal things. I just get in the habit of it and I just can't stop. So sorry, you're just going to have to put up with my hand movements.